Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I got a fitness-related video for you today. Sort of a strange question here. I titled this, I think the subject was, Build Muscles Without Hard Work. Oh, I think you know what I'm going to say about this. But no, actually, I've got a few opinions on this. So this is from Caesar, and he says, "Hi, John. Thank you for your videos. I enjoy the content. I'm a software developer in my late 20s, so I've been working in an office setting for years now. Although I am in decent physical shape, I have never really gotten into lifting weights, and thus I am not very physically strong. In addition, I have done a lot of drinking and partying through the years and have taken a toll on my body. Now that I am older and wiser, I'm starting to party less and want to start focusing on getting in shape, including building some muscle. I'm not interested in going off the bodybuilding deep end, but mostly in achieving a decent level of strength. Can you recommend a way for software developers like myself to get strong lifting weights with passive involvement?" Passive involvement. Thanks, Caesar. So, well, I can answer your question straight away. Wait for some noise to die down here. But so anyway, you cannot develop your strength. And when you say strength, let's be honest here. We're all vain. It's aesthetics. You want to look good. You want to build muscle. You can't develop that passively. It's just not going to happen passively. Unless you, I guess what you could do is you could find a secret scientific research center where they can inject you with a superhero serum, and then you can come out and become Captain America. Aside from that, it's not going to happen passively. But that doesn't mean that that you can't get some benefits without a ridiculous amount of work. So I'm actually putting together a program right now for software developers on fitness and diet. I've been testing the program. I have an extreme version that I'm working on now, which is that's what I'm following, and it's crazy. I'm running 40 miles a week. I'm lifting 3 days a week for 2 hours at a pop, and I'm fasting until 5 every day and then eating a pretty strict diet. So that's probably not what you're interested in. I do have a different version of that, but I'm going to give you kind of the basics of what you can do and to get the most bang for your buck. Because what you'll find with fitness, with getting in shape, is that there's this curve, like many things in life, where you can get to the 80% mark with very little effort, but then going from 80 to 90% is a lot of effort, and going into like the 95 percentile is an extreme. It's like 3 times the effort that it took to get to 80%. So if you want to get to 80%, that's what it seems like you're saying. You just want to look good, build a little bit of muscle, get in shape. You don't want to do anything crazy. That can be easily achieved. So here's what I'd recommend. First of all, whatever you're going to do, start off building small habits, right? So don't say, okay, I'm going to start going to the gym 5 days a week and I'm going to run 5 days a week for 5 miles each. That's not going to happen, and it doesn't sound like something that you want to do anyway. But at the same time, you can't have a haphazard approach to this and say, well, I'll lift every once in a while and I'll run. You need to have an exact program that you're going to follow. I did this video on meal plans, talking about what to do when you're hungry, or how to not be hungry, and that's that's what happens when you feel in public. But anyway, not going to throw me off. But you can check out that video about meal plans, and that's part of it, right? So you got to have a plan for what you're going to eat every day, and you got to know what you're going to eat, even if it's not going to be so extreme, right? You got to have that plan. The second thing is you got to have a workout plan, right? You got to say, I'm going to the gym on this day, and I'm going to work out for this amount of time, and this is the kind of workout that I'm going to do. And you got to make that a schedule, and you got to make that consistent. You got to have the same thing if you're going to run, right? Just plan this out. It's going to take you some time, but it's worth it. And plan out what the schedule is going to be, and then follow that. And you can always modify the schedule, but if you don't have a plan, you're not going to get in shape, right? And so that's the critical component, because nothing is going to happen if you don't do that, I promise you. You got to have it. It's critical. There's, especially if you want to achieve some of the higher levels. The higher level of fitness you want to achieve and diet, and you're going to have to like plan it even more so. But at a basic level, that's going to help you more than anything else, because you're going to be consistent, you're going to be committed. It doesn't have to be a lot. So now let's talk about what's not a lot, how you can get to the 80% very easily. All you got to do, really, honestly, I only lift 3 times a week. I lift on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Now I do 2-hour workouts, but you could do 1-hour workouts of lifting, and if you're going to do lifting, do compound movements, right? Things like bench press, squat, deadlift. Try to do, military press, shoulder press. Don't do arm curls and all this stuff. Like, optimize for the biggest muscle groups and do it consistently. Do 8 reps, 3 sets. And do high intensity. Work out hard for that hour. If you do an hour 3 times a week of lifting, you can do upper body. What I do is upper body one day, lower body one day. In fact, I do upper body on Monday and Friday, and lower body on Wednesday. I think that's best for the ideal proportions for aesthetics. You could alternate. You don't have to do any kind of crazy bodybuilding routines. That seems to work fine. And I'm in pretty good shape doing that. So if you want to build muscle, you can certainly do it doing that. And then just get out there and run. I would say run a 5K a few times a week. The cardio honestly isn't going to make that much of a difference if you can walk on a treadmill, but something that you're getting some extra exercise. That you could use a step counter. I use my Apple Watch for it. You could use a Fitbit and try to hit 10,000 steps a day. Figure out something that's going to burn an extra few calories, and then do some basic monitoring of your diet, right? You could fast until 5. I like eating 1 meal a day. You can see why I eat 1 meal a day. I have videos on that here, which you can check out. I actually think it's really good for a weight loss program and for getting in shape in general. You can even build muscle on that, just because you don't have to worry about cooking food all the time and all this meal prep and all this stuff. So, but that's the basics, right? The key thing is, like I said, having a routine in place. It doesn't have to be extreme, but you have to be consistent in following it and having some control over it. You got to have some kind of a plan of what you're going to eat. You can use an app like MyFitnessPal to track everything that you eat and see how many calories that you're eating. If you want to lose fat, you need to be in a deficit, so you can adjust that. It doesn't have to be like super strict, right? You can be in a small deficit and have it work, but you got to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, it's just not going to work. You're not going to get in shape by just hoping that you do, and sometimes going to the gym. I put it on your calendar, right? It's on my calendar. I know from 3 to 5 every day I am going to go to the gym, or I'm going to lift weights, or I'm going to run, and that's it. So anyway, hope that helps you. And no, you can't do it passively. Like I said, unless you're Captain America and you get a serum, a top secret serum. If you like this video and you would like to subscribe and get more videos like this, you can click the subscribe button below, and you can always check out the playlist that I have on all of the fitness videos and stuff. And like I said, I'm still working on the fitness program, but if you subscribe, you'll hear when I launch it. I'll launch it here, and you'll get to be one of the first people to use it and get into super shape. Anyway, hope you like this video, and take care.